Everyone, and welcome to the Philippine Statistics Authority Inflation Report in Central Visayas, including the Cebu province and the highly urbanized cities. We are pleased to welcome our media partner and the members of the Regional Statistics Committee Central Visayas joining us online. Before we proceed with today's presentation, I would like to inform everyone that our press conference is being covered live on our social media accounts. Use hashtag CPI Central Visayas and hashtag Inflation Central Visayas. And now to present 2026 Inflation Report of Central Visayas, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the officer in charge of PSA Region 7, RD Wilma A. Perante. Let us now play the report of RD Perante.
Good morning to all of us. The Philippine Statistics Authority, Regional Statistical Services Office 7, will report the inflation rate in Central Visayas for the month of April 2026. The regional inflation rate, or the change in the average prices of goods and services in Central Visayas, accelerated to 10.8% in April 2026. Last March 2026, the inflation rate was recorded at 7.4% and 2.0% in April 2025. Among the 18 regions, Central Visayas ranked with the highest inflation rate for the month of April 2026, followed by Caraga region at 10.1%. The primary source of the acceleration in the regional inflation was the annual increase in the prices of food and non-alcoholic beverages, which registered 14.5% from 10.1% in March 2026. This has a 47.2% share to the overall acceleration in the regional inflation. The top three commodities that shared significantly to the uptrend in food and non-alcoholic beverages in April 2026 were the following: cereals and cereal products with 12.3% from 5.6% inflation, fish and other seafood such as pelagic fish, live, fresh, chilled or frozen with 27.2% from 15.9% inflation, and vegetables, tubers, plantains, cooking bananas, and pulses such as onions and shallots, fresh or chilled with 58.8% from 51.4% inflation. The second major source of acceleration in the regional inflation was the faster annual increase in prices of transport at 22.5% from 8.2% inflation in March 2026. This shared 37.7% to the overall acceleration in the regional inflation. The top three that shared significantly to the uptrend in transport in April 2026 were the following: gasoline with 56.2% from 22.3% inflation, diesel with 109.1% from 56.7% inflation, and passenger transport by sea and inland waterway with 19.1% from negative 0.5% inflation. And the third major source of acceleration in the regional inflation was the faster annual increase in prices of housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels at 6.0% from 4.2% inflation in March 2026. This shared 11.9% to the overall acceleration in the regional inflation. The top two that shared significantly to the uptrend in housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels in April 2026 were liquefied hydrocarbons with 30.9% from 2.0% inflation and electricity with 11.3% from 9.1% inflation. The primary contributor to the 10.8% inflation rate in Central Visayas in April 2026 was the food and non-alcoholic beverages with 5.67 percentage points contribution to the regional inflation, registering an inflation rate of 14.5%. The top three that shared significantly to the inflation of food and non-alcoholic beverages were the following: food and other seafood with 1.78 percentage points contribution to the overall regional inflation, cereals and cereal products with 1.51 percentage points contribution to the overall regional inflation, and vegetables, soups, plantains, cooking bananas, and pulses with 1.45 percentage points contribution to the overall regional inflation. The second group with the largest contribution to the overall regional inflation was transport with 2.06 percentage points contribution, registering an inflation rate of 22.5%. The top three that shared significantly to the inflation of transport were the following: gasoline with 1.07 percentage points contribution to the overall regional inflation, diesel with 0.51 percentage point contribution to the overall regional inflation, and passenger transport by sea and inland waterway with 0.29 percentage point contribution to the overall regional inflation. The third commodity group with the largest contribution to the overall regional inflation was housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels with 1.33 percentage points contribution, registering an inflation rate of 6.0%. The top three that shared significantly to the inflation of housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels were the following: liquefied hydrocarbons with 0.40 percentage point contribution to the overall regional inflation, electricity with 0.36 percentage point contribution to the overall regional inflation, and rentals with 0.37 percentage point contribution to the overall regional inflation. Among the 13 major commodity groups, 8 registered higher inflation in April 2026 compared with their inflation rates in March 2026. These were the following: food and non-alcoholic beverages with 14.5% from 10.1% inflation, housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels with 6.0% from 4.2% inflation, clothing and footwear with 3.8% from 3.5% inflation, furnishings, household equipment, and routine household maintenance with 6.9% from 6.7% inflation, transport with 22.5% from 8.2% inflation, information and communication with 1.0% from 0.9% inflation, restaurants and accommodation services with 10.5% from 9.7% inflation, and personal care and miscellaneous goods and services with 3.6% from 3.2% inflation. On the other hand, two commodity groups recorded lower inflation rates in April 2026 compared with their inflation rates in March 2026. These were the following: alcoholic beverages and tobacco with 4.7% inflation from 5.7% inflation, and health with 3.3% from 3.4% inflation. Meanwhile, Three commodity groups maintained their inflation rates during the month. These were the following: recreation, sport, and culture with 4.0% inflation, education services with 2.6% inflation, and financial services with 0% inflation. Now, let's take a look at the inflation for food groups. Food inflation at the regional level registered a faster annual increase at 15.4% in April 2026. Last March 2026, the food inflation rate was recorded at 10.7% and 0.8% in April 2025. Among the 11 food groups, 9 registered higher inflation rates in April 2026 compared with their inflation rates in March 2026. These were the following: rice with 11.4% from 3.5% inflation, corn with 20% from 13.3% inflation, flour and other bakery products, pasta products, and other cereals with 4.5% from 4.1% inflation, fish and other seafood such as other pelagic fish, live, fresh, chilled, or frozen, with 27.2% from 15.9% inflation, milk, other dairy products, and eggs, such as eggs with 6.4% from 5.6% inflation, oils and fats with 4.0% from 3.4% inflation, fruits and nuts such as bananas with 24.7% from 21.7%, vegetables, tubers, plantains, cooking bananas and pulses such as onions with 58.8% from 51.4%, and ready-made food and other seafood products such as other sauces with 3.4% from 3.0%. Sugar, confectionery, and desserts such as chocolate, including white chocolate, recorded as lower negative inflation in April 2026 at negative 5.1% from negative 5.4% in March 2026. Meat and other parts of slaughtered land animals, such as meat of pigs, fresh, chilled, or frozen, recorded a lower inflation rate during the month at 2.8% from 3.7% inflation. In the succeeding slides, I will be presenting the inflation rate for the bottom 30% income households in Central Visayas. In April 2026, inflation rate for the bottom 30% income households in Central Visayas accelerated to 14.0%. Last March 2026, the inflation rate was recorded at 8.3% and 0.5% in April 2025. The major source of the uptrend in the regional inflation for the bottom 30% income households was the annual increase in the prices of food and non-alcoholic beverages at 16.5% from 10.9% in March 2026. This has a 50.1% share to higher inflation of the bottom 30% income households. The commodity groups that contributed to the uptrend in the inflation of food and non-alcoholic beverages were the following: cereals and dairy products with 15.9% from 7.4%, fish and other seafood such as other pelagic fish, live, fresh, chilled, or frozen with 28.8% from 15.9%, vegetables, tubers, plantains, cooking bananas, and pulses, such as onions and shallots, fresh or chilled, with 28.8% from 15.4%. Second major source of the uptrend in the regional inflation for the bottom 30% income households was the faster annual increase in the prices of housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels, which registered 15.1% from 4.5% inflation in March 2026. This has 31.7% share to the higher inflation of the bottom 30% income households. The faster annual increase in the prices of housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels were liquefied hydrocarbons at 38.8% from 2.4% inflation, and liquid fuels at 93.7% from 57.4% inflation. The third major source of the uptrend in the regional inflation for the bottom 30% income households was the faster annual increase in the prices of transport, which registered 19.0% from 27% inflation in March 2026. This has a 17.1% share to the higher inflation of the bottom 30% income households. The faster annual increase in the prices of transport was contributed largely by the following: gasoline with 56.0% from 23.0% inflation, and passenger transport by sea and inland waterway with 13.0% from an annual decline of 8.5%. The top contributors to the 14.0% inflation rate for the bottom 30% income households in Central Visayas in April 2026 were the following: food and non-alcoholic beverages with 8.55 percentage points contribution to the regional inflation, housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels with 2.68 percentage points contribution to the regional inflation, and transport with 1.25 percentage points contribution to the regional inflation. Lastly, let us take a look at the inflation rates of the provinces and highly urbanized cities in Central Visayas for the month of April 2026. Province of Bohol with 7.2%, Province of Cebu with 12.9%, Cebu City with 9.4%, Mandaue City with 10.7%, and Lapu-Lapu City with 11.4%. The monthly inflation data for all income households and bottom 30% income households of the region can be found on the regional website of PSA RSSO 7. It can also be accessed through the link provided or by scanning the QR code displayed on the screen. That concludes my presentation on the level of inflation or the increase or decrease in the prices of goods and services in Central Visayas for the month of April 2026. The Philippine Statistics Authority Regional Statistical Services Office 7 greatly appreciates your participation in the press conference on the region's inflation. Daghang salamat ug maayong butag sa atong tanan.
Thank you very much, RD Dante, for the report on April 2026 inflation in Central Visayas. And now for the inflation report for the province of Cebu and highly urbanized cities. Please help me welcome the officer in charge of the Provincial Statistical Office, Engineer Felixberto M. Satu Jr. Let us hear the report of CSS, OIC CSS Satu.
Good morning, everyone. The Philippine Statistics Authority, Cebu Provincial Statistical Office will present the inflation rates for the province of Cebu and the three highly urbanized cities, namely the city of Cebu, the city of Lapu-Lapu, and the city of Mandaue for April 2026. For all income households, inflation in the four domains posted faster annual increases in April 2026 compared with the respective rates in March 2026. In the province of Cebu, inflation accelerated to 12.9% in April 2026 from 9.1% in March 2026. This was also higher than the 2.8% recorded in April 2025. In the city of Cebu, inflation rose to 9.4% from 6.8% in the previous month and was higher than the 1.3% posted in April 2025. In the city of Lapu-Lapu, inflation increased to 8.4% from 8.1% in March 2026. This was also above the 1.0% recorded in April 2025. Meanwhile, in the city of Mandaue, inflation went up to 10.7% from 6.1% in March 2026 and was higher than that 0.7% registered in April 2025. Across the four domains, the primary source of the acceleration in April 2026 inflation was the faster annual increase in the prices of food and non-alcoholic beverages. In the province of Cebu, inflation for food and non-alcoholic beverages rose to 16.5% from 11.9% in March 2025. This commodity group contributed 47.2% to the overall uptrend in the provincial inflation. In the city of Cebu, it increased to 14.0% from 10.8%, accounting to 39.1% of the city's overall uptrend in inflation. In the city of Lapu-Lapu, inflation for this commodity group went up to 19.2% from 13.9%, contributing 55.8% to the uptrend in inflation. In the city of Mandaue, it accelerated to 17.3% from 10.7%, accounting for 46.5% of the city's overall uptrend in inflation. The higher inflation for food and non-alcoholic beverages was driven by faster annual increases in the indices of cereals and cereal products and fish and other seafood compared with their March 2026 rates. Across the four domains, inflation for cereal and cereal products increased from their March 2026 rates. The highest inflation was recorded in the city of Lapu-Lapu at 23.0%, while the lowest inflation was posted in the city of Cebu at 9.8%. Meanwhile, fish and other seafood also posted higher inflation across all areas. The highest inflation was observed in the city of Lapu-Lapu at 34.0%, while the lowest inflation was recorded in the city of Mandaue at 26.9%. The second major source of the acceleration in April 2026 inflation across the four domains was the faster annual increase in the transport. In the city of Cebu, transport inflation rose to 22.4% from 2.6% in March 2026. This contributed 46.4% to the overall uptrend in the provincial inflation. In the city of Cebu, transport inflation increased to 21.1% from 10.0%, accounting for 32.6% of the city's overall uptrend in inflation. In the city of Lapu-Lapu, it went up to 20.7% from 11.3%, contributing 21.4% to the city's overall uptrend in inflation. In the city of Mandaue, transport inflation accelerated to 19.5% from 6.2%, accounting for 21.1% of the city's overall uptrend in inflation. The uptrend in transport inflation was mainly brought about by faster inflation rates for gasoline and diesel compared with their March 2026 levels. Across the domains, gasoline inflation increased in all areas. The highest gasoline inflation was recorded in the city of Lapu-Lapu at 57.4%, while the lowest was posted in the city of Cebu at 56.0%. Meanwhile, diesel inflation was also accelerated across all areas. The highest diesel inflation was observed in the city of Lapu-Lapu at 125.0%, while the lowest was recorded in the city of Cebu at 99.6%. The third major source of the acceleration in April 2026 inflation across the four domains was the faster annual increase in the housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels. In the province of Cebu, inflation for this commodity group increased to 7.4% from 6.3% in March 2026. This contributed 6.0% to the overall uptrend in the provincial inflation. In the city of Cebu, it rose to 5.5% from 2.8%, accounting for 26.2% 6.1% of the city's overall uptrend inflation. In the city of Lapu-Lapu, inflation for housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels increased to 8.6% from 6.0%, contributing 19.3% to the city's overall uptrend in inflation. In the city of Mandawi, it went up to 6.1% from 2.9%, accounting for 17.6% of the city's overall uptrend inflation. The increase in housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels, inflation was mainly driven by faster inflation rates for liquefied petroleum gas or LPG and electricity compared with their March 2026 rates. Across the four domains, LPG inflation increased in all areas. The highest LPG inflation was reported in the province of Cebu at 32.2%, while the lowest posted in the city of Lapu-Lapu at 28.7%. Meanwhile, electricity inflation also accelerated across all areas. The highest electricity inflation was observed in the city of Lapu-Lapu at 23.0%, while the lowest was recorded in the province of Cebu at 4.8%. In terms of contribution to the April 2026 overall inflation, food and non-alcoholic beverages was the primary contributor across the four domains. In the province of Cebu, food and non-alcoholic beverages recorded an inflation rate of 16.5%, contributing 7.08 percentage points to the province's overall inflation. In the city of Cebu, this commodity group posted 14.0% inflation, contributing 4.73 percentage points to the city's overall inflation. In the city of Lapu-Lapu, it recorded 19.2% inflation, contributing 6.85 percentage points to the city's overall inflation. Another major contributor to the April 2026 overall inflation across the four domains was transport. In the province of Cebu, transport recorded an inflation rate of 22.4%, contributing 2.05 percentage points to the province's overall inflation. For food inflation, in the city of Cebu, transport inflation was posted at 21.1%, contributing 1.72 percentage points to the city's overall inflation. In the city of Lapu-Lapu, transport 0.7% inflation, contributing 1.62 percentage points to the city's overall inflation. In the city of Mandawi, transport inflation stood at 19.5%, contributing 1.44 percentage points to the city's overall inflation. For food inflation, all four domains also recorded faster annual increases in April 2026 compared with their respective rates in March 2026. In the province of Cebu, food inflation was recorded at 17.5%. Meanwhile, food inflation stood at 14.9% in the city of Cebu, 20.7% in the city of Lapu-Lapu, and 18.2% in the city of Mandawi. One of the primary drivers of the acceleration in food inflation during the month was the increase in rice inflation across four domains. In the province of Cebu, rice inflation was recorded at 6.3% from negative 1.2% in March 2026. In the city of Cebu, rice inflation increased to 10.0% from 5.7% in the previous month. In the city of Lapu-Lapu, it rose to 27.6% from 13.4% in March 2026. In the city of Mandawi, rice inflation went up to 20.0% from 8.4% in the previous month. We now proceed to the inflation rates for the bottom 30% income households. Across the four domains, inflation for the bottom 30% income households recorded faster annual increases in April 2026 compared with the respective March 2026 rates. In the province of Cebu, inflation accelerated to 16.1% in April 2026 from 9.8% in March 2026. This was also higher than the 2.0% recorded in April 2025. In the city of Cebu, inflation increased to 17.3% from 8.3% in March 2026 and was higher than the 0.9% posted in April 2025. In the city of Lapu-Lapu, inflation rose to 18.0% from 11.6% in March 2026, also an uptrend compared to 0.9% decline recorded in April 2025. Meanwhile, in the city of Mandaue, inflation climbed to 12.3% from 7.4% in March 2026 and was higher than the 0.0% posted in April 2025. For the bottom 30% income households, the primary driver of the acceleration in April 2026 inflation across the four domains was the faster annual increase in the prices of food and non-alcoholic beverages. In the province of Cebu, inflation for food and non-alcoholic beverages increased to 13.0% from 12.8% in March 2026. This contributed 48.8% to the overall inflation uptrend in the province. In the city of Cebu, it also rose to 19.0% from 13.2%, accounting for 30.9% of the city's overall inflation uptrend. In the city of Lapu-Lapu, inflation for this commodity group increased to 24.4% from 17.8%, contributing 50.0% to the city's overall uptrend. In the city of Mandaue, it accelerated to 18.7% from 12.2%, accounting for 62.1% of the city's overall inflation. Another major source of the acceleration in April 2026 inflation for the bottom 30% income households was the faster annual increase in the housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels. In the province of Cebu, inflation for this commodity group increased to 16.5% from 4.8% in March 2026. This contributed 31.0% to the overall inflation uptrend in the province. In the city of Cebu, it rose to 35.5% from 7.7%, accounting for 64.7% of the city's overall inflation uptrend. In the city of Lapu-Lapu, inflation for housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels increased to 24.2% from 8.6%, contributing 42.7% to the city's overall uptrend. In the city of Mandaue, it went up to 7.1% from 2.6%, accounting for 14.6% of the city's overall inflation uptrend. The monthly inflation data for all income households and for the bottom 30% income households are available on the official website of the Regional Statistical Services Office 7. The data may also be accessed through the links shown on the screen by scanning the QR code provided. That concludes the presentation on the April 2026 inflation report for goods and services in the province of Cebu, the city of Cebu, the city of Lapu-Lapu, and the city of Mandaue. Daghang salamat ug maayong buntag sa atong tanan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sato, for the report on the inflation for the province of Cebu and highly urbanized cities. And this time, we will open the floor for some questions and clarifications if there are or there is. So I would like to invite the representatives from Department of Economy, Planning and Development, Department of Trade and Industry, Department of Agriculture, Land Transportation Office, and the Bangko ng Pilipinas to join us during the discussion. But before that, I would like to have some reminders for the smooth flow of our question and answer. So kindly raise your hand since we have only one media present today. So siya lang yung magtatanong, RD.
We can have
So,
online those who are joining us
and
online.
those who are joining online or And our Facebook Live, you may send your questions through our chat box and in the comment section. Right, we are ready to cater your questions and clarifications.
So while waiting for questions from the public and for the members of the media, we would like to thank all the media and all our partners and respondents in our weekly, bi-monthly price surveys for the generation and compilation of our consumer price index and inflation rate in all our sample municipalities and sample outlets. So please continue to provide assistance sa ating mga data collectors for really coming up with reliable estimates of our inflation rate every month. To our media, daghang salamat for the support. Um, you are always our partner to ensure that yung ating latest statistics of the Philippine Statistics Authority are being posted and also disseminated to the public. Maraming salamat.
Ma'am, good morning. Junalyn Humabis from Brigada News FM Cebu. Mga tanong ko ma'am, unsay hinungdan gyud dumiri unong hinungdan sa sa inflation rate pagsaka ani?
Okay, as for Central Visayas, as mentioned earlier, no, the top contributor to the uptrend of the inflation for April 2026. Una ay yung food and non-alcoholic beverages. So under this food and alcoholic beverages, may share po siya ng 47 uptrend. 47.2% share of the total acceleration from March to April 2026. So under cereals and cereal products, that's the first one, the primary contributor to the uptrend. Meron po tayong specific commodities, no? For under cereals, we have rice na mayroon siyang contribution of 18.3% of the trend to the uptrend. And then yung corn, we have 4.7%. With, of course, with the inflation, by the way, yung rice natin, yung inflation in April, umabot siya ng 11.4%. And then yung corn, for April, we have 24.3%. And then, sa second, for the food and non-alcoholic beverages, which is the primary contributor, under that, we also have fish and other seafood. Sa fish and other seafood, very particular on the commodity item, we have other pelagic fish. So live ito, fresh or frozen or chilled, na ang kanyang contribution to the uptrend for the April is 13.6%. Examples of this, ang share po natin ng other pelagic fish ay danggit. Isa yan sa mga isda. We have sinagid, danggit, no? Danggit, that's sinagid. And then tamarong. Yun yung another example of under the other pelagic fish. So we also have mackerel or anduhaw is another example, which is also part of the other pelagic fish. And we have budboron. So these are examples of other pelagic fish. Mayroon siyang inflation overall for fish and other seafood of 27.2%. So Another item, commodity group, subgroup under food and alcoholic beverages, as mentioned ko kanina, ay yung vegetables tubers, no? A very specific commodity that contributed to the uptrend in the inflation this April ay onions. Ang ating onions ay may 2.3% share to the uptrend. Ang ating inflation rate po umabot ng 214.3%. And then yung ating carrots ay may 0.8 share to the trend. Ang ating inflation rate for carrots in April 2026 ay umabot po siya ng 106.9%. So the second is the transport. Sa transport, yung share niya to the uptrend in inflation ay 37.7%. Ang inflation for the transport, we have 22.5%. Under this transport, commodity items, particularly for one is gasoline, na ang kanyang share to the uptrend ay 19.7%, na where yung kanyang inflation ay 56.2%. And followed by diesel na ang kanyang ay to the uptrend ay 6.4% with an inflation rate for April of 109.1%. And the third commodity is under transport that contributed in the uptrend is the passenger transport by sea and inland waterway with a share of 6.8% with an inflation rate of 19.1%. So yun po yung two major contributors. And of course, as mentioned, may pangatlo, the third, which has a share of 11.9% to the uptrend in inflation. We have housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels. So very particular, we have on the hydrocarbons, liquefied hydrocarbons, na may share siya of 9.0% to the uptrend and followed with ang ating liquefied hydrocarbons, examples of these products are LPG and butane. Na mayroon siyang inflation rate for April of 30.9%. Tapos followed by electricity with a share of 2.3% to the uptrend in inflation with inflation rate of 11.3%. So these are the three major contributors to the uptrend in inflation for April 2026 in Central Visayas.
Last month po, ma'am, may nag-interview po sa akin doon sa bahay namin, taga PSA daw siya. Dami niyang tanong. Pero may tanong siya, sabi niya, yung tungkol sa fuel, fuel crisis, apektado ba daw ako? So, yung po ma'am, yung inflation yung sa inflation rate po natin ma'am, may po ba, parang connected po ba ito sa fuel increase, fuel price?
Yes.
May po ba parang
Okay. One of the commodities that we are getting, by the way, thank you for responding to our consumer expectation survey. This is commissioned by Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. So every quarter po, baka ma-sample ulit kayo. Thank you.
may nag-interview sa amin.
Oo, kasi this is one of the questions on the expectations of the inflation. Tapos tinatanong kung how do you understand inflation. So going back to your question on kasama ba sa inflation on the prices of fuel?
I mean, nakakontribute po ba yung fuel crisis sa
As a global crisis. So as mentioned ko kanina, the second major contributor to the uptrend for April is the transport. Under transport is pumapasok po dito yung ating diesel, gasoline. So ito ay since this is a supply driven, so yung ating prices of diesel, gasoline really are being affected by the global crisis. So in fact, kaya siya umabot yung ating inflation rate for April, diesel, umabot po siya ng 1.1% inflation for April from 56.7% in March 2026. Kaya mataas talaga yung kanyang contribution to the acceleration of the inflation for April. And also, gasoline, yun natin, umabot po siya ng two digit, which is 56.2% from 22.3% noong March 2026. So, yes, yung ating, particularly for these two items pa lang, itong sinasabi natin, no, contributed to the acceleration of inflation this April.
Thank you, ma'am.
Right, thank you from Brigada News FM. We have another question from our online participants. Good morning. What could be the primary reason why rice and corn and seafoods had an uptick inflation? Do we have low supply of these items?
May we request the representative from the Department of Agriculture as member of the Regional Statistics Committee to enlighten on us on the question. While waiting for the Department of Agriculture, may I just, yes, there is really an increase in the inflation of commodities po mentioned. Yes.
Hello, hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear
Yes,
you.
yes. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. Yes.
Yes. This is Elvin Meliesa from the Planning Division. Yep. Yes. Yeah. I've seen. Yeah, on the question of the increase, high inflation for rice and corn, as we have stated, is more on the increasing transport or logistics cost from the source region going to our distribution centers or to the outlets. And also for this month is harvest season for our rice. So I believe still have enough supply, including those from the imported rice from the other countries. But the exact data from the BPI, we still have to get the exact amount or volume of imported rice. Thank you.
Another question from B4. May we request to enlighten regarding the increase or higher inflation rate for fish.
Good morning, everyone. So, first of all, with regards to the species being monitored, mostly those that are reported by the PSA are on pelagic species. I just want to make one correction, ma'am, regarding the siganid or the rabbit fish. This species is not pelagic but demersal. So those pelagic species are those comprising the round scad, tuna, the mackerels. Those are the small pelagic. So going back to the inflation rate, so understandably, the supply or the production of our fisheries is mainly affected by the surging prices of our fuel. So which the result would limit the fishing operations of mostly our municipal fisher folk. So aside from the climate-driven interferences, the low production and the fisheries is mainly affected by the price hike in our fuel, which limit our fisher folk to go fishing. So consequently, our production in fisheries would also be lower. That is why the inflation would also follow through. It is high, especially for our fisheries or our fisheries products, especially for the fresh uh, supply of our fish production.
Okay. Thank you for uh, clarification on the classification of the fish and also
Thank you.
enlightening us on the, yes, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
For, yes, for also for enlightening us on the reasons of why we have higher prices of pelagic fish this April 2026. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Right, no more question po, RD, for our virtual participants as well as our social media pages. So that concludes our question and answer portion. And now let's move on to the closing statement of our resource person before we officially end.
Okay, as mentioned earlier, on behalf of the Philippine Statistics Authority Regional Statistical Services Office 7, I would like to thank our media partners, members of the Regional Statistics Committee, all the respondents of our surveys and other surveys. By the way, mayroon pala kami ngayon ongoing na, next week we will be having also our data dissemination on the 2025 National Demographic and Health Survey and the results of the first ever na i-disseminate namin. We will be having a press conference or news conference regarding the 2024-2025 annual labor statistics. So we would be seeing everyone, our media and stakeholders, members of the Regional Statistics Committee for attending this back-to-back activities related to two major official statistics of PSA. So to our respondents, again, thank you very much for the continued support that you've provided to PSA sa lahat po ng aming mga surveys, lalo na sa aming mga establishments. Kasi mayroon na naman kami ngayon, we have the monthly, we have the quarterly, and then we have the annual survey of Philippine business and industry, and we have also other surveys, rider surveys related to establishments. So daghang salamat, and to our team, maraming salamat for the successful conduct of our monthly price statistics press conference. Thank you very much.
Okay, for Cebu Province, I would like to thank one of our respondent there's a consumer expectation survey, si Ma'am, here in our conference hall. Thank you very much for answering. No, actually, this is a quarterly survey, the consumer expectation survey. Another one, we are continuously conducting weekly monitoring of our selected agriculture and food products, as well as the energy, fuels, as per direction from the central office, for the proper monitoring of these prices, especially sa katong ato ang very mobile nga kuha na to mga prices. Another one, we are also conducting the household survey on domestic visitor. Currently, we are conducting this to our selected sample municipalities. If just in case that one of our enumerator visited, kindly also answer to our inquiry regarding the household survey and domestic survey. Along with that, we are also conducting our monthly labor force survey is being currently conducted along with the HSDB, and of course the annual survey of Philippine business industry, and of course the survey on tourism establishment survey. Thank you very much for all the support for the PSA. Thank you.
Thank you, RD and Sir June. Before we end, I would like to remind everyone to kindly accomplish our short evaluation form. Kindly click on the link in the chat box to our virtual participants. And for more details and PSA related updates, especially in PSA Region 7, you may visit our website at rsso07.psa.gov.ph. For data requests, you may email your request at rsso07@psa.gov.ph. Once again, we would like to announce As per announcement from RD, May 21, 2025 is our Regional Data Dissemination Forum on the 2025 National Demographic and Health Survey, back to back with a press conference on the 2024-2025 labor statistics. Once again, we would like to thank our media partners and members of the Regional Statistics Committee Central Visayas for joining us the press conference for April 2026 inflation in Central Visayas, including the province of Cebu and highly urbanized cities. We hope to see you again on the next press conference. Thank you very much. Maayong buntag kanatong tanan.